This video is brought to you by jadedpainting.ca. Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2 of this painting tutorial. As always, my name is Jay, and today I'll be showing you the second half of how I painted up this Hyperion model, one of the awesome Colossal Models for Warmachine from the Retribution of Scyrah. So we'll be continuing where we left off with cold steel. So it is time to paint all the metallic areas on the model with cold steel, which is a really nice bluish silver. So it is, just like the name, presents a really cold color to it. And I'm using to paint all the metallic areas of the model, and there are a lot of them, including all the knobs that are part of the symbols, the middle part of the torso, and as well as the hands and his blades on his hands. So just a lot of parts of the model. Basically, the two primary colors of this model are going to be white and metallic. So this will be painting over the other areas. Remember, just to be careful when painting the metallic areas. Try not to get any of the metallic paint on the nice white areas or green areas that we've been painting so nicely for the past few steps. And of course, as I mentioned, this step will take a lot of time because there are a lot of metallic areas on the model. And as you can see here, most of the areas on the back of the legs are also metallic, and once again I'm just painting the parts separately just for easiness of access. I found that when I put them together, the model is very big and clunky and very hard to paint that way. So separating the parts just allows easy access in painting these areas, and it also prevents you from carrying a giant heavy model while painting. And now I'm just focusing on the top part, leaving the nice blue that we just worked on in the recesses, and just painting over all the raised areas with this cold steel. I really like cold steel. It does go on really well, has a great consistency, and it gives good coverage with a single coat. And as you can see, a large portion of the upper torso is going to be metallic as well, including the hands, the blades, the disc things on his shoulders, all the round areas of him, and the front part of his face. And for these parts, I'm just being extra careful to paint around the recesses and make sure I don't get any of the cold steel in the recesses. I just want to keep that really nice highlighted arcane blue in the recesses. And here I'm just painting the discs. Once again, leaving the arcane blue in the recesses. And after all the metallics were done, I gave them a non-oil shading. This non-oil is from Games Workshop. If you want to use the Privateer Press equivalent, I'd recommend Armor Wash. I just really like the way that non-oil works in combination with the cold steel, and produces a really nice contrast on these metallic areas, and it's great to highlight over later. So I just gave this shade to all the metallic areas I worked on in the previous step. Luckily, shading takes a lot less time to do, since it's a very quick step. Just make sure that the shade is completely dry before proceeding to the highlighting step. Otherwise, it'll lead to some bleeding of colors, and just not as nice of an overall metallic look as you could accomplish. And after the shade was completely dry, I then did a highlight over all these areas with Quicksilver, a really nice light silver color from P3. And for this, I just focused on the outer edges of the metallic areas, such as the knobs and the discs and the front of his face, just picking up on the edges so that the Quicksilver will shine when light hits it. And for the under areas, I just did a very quick dry brush. I know the light source won't be hitting it. I just want to do a quick dry brush just to pick up on some of the details in case anybody looks at there. Because when the body's hunched over a certain angle, you can see some of these metallics. But as you can see, the really nice gradient of colors from the top to the bottom. Now the under half is very dark. And the same for the blades. I just did the quicksilver on the edges of the blades to pick them up, so when the light hits it, it looks really nice and shiny. This step, once again, took a little bit of time, since there were a lot of metallic areas on the model. And as you can see, here I'm just continuing it, picking up on certain areas the light source is hitting, such as the top of the knobs, and just making sure that, that they're highlighted any place that the light source would be hitting. And same with the back, just doing a very quick, almost an overbrush on these areas, just focusing on the raised areas and leaving the recesses the nice shaded cold steel. And after the metallics were finished, I then did an airbrushing of iron hull gray on these areas, and this is just to produce some weathering and some wear, just to make it look a little more worn out and dirty. So I did a very thin, light dusting of iron hull gray with my airbrush over certain areas, and this would also accent the armor to make it look more warm, but also pick up on some of the details of it, so it won't just be white blending on white. So as you can see here, I just took my time and very carefully just focus on certain areas just to make it look more worn out. And this could have been done beforehand, but I wanted to make the weathering on top of the metallics and the green. That way it just looks more weathered, and it wouldn't look like the green shining through the weathering of, or the older look of it. And same with the top of the body. Once again, just focus on certain areas and just try to get a nice thin lining of iron hull gray just along certain ridges, and this will give it an overall more worn out appearance and make the Hyperion look awesome. Basically, as you can see, I'm just trying to go for such as the cover art for the model, and I'm trying to emulate it for a particular client. And plus, it will really accent the glowing effect from the top part. As you can see, that the dark contrast to the glowing, it really does make it stand out. Luckily with an airbrush this step didn't take that much time. It was relatively quick and produced a really nice effect in the end. And that's it. You now know how I painted up this Hyperion. For the base, I just went with some simple brown painted sand and some miniature trees just to show the scale of this model. It's supposed to be hulking way over the trees and looking awesome. So thank you very much for watching this painting tutorial. Please like the video, leave comments in the comment section down below, and subscribe to my channel if you already haven't done so. It really does help a lot. And until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting, everyone.